Hey, Adnan.
Hello. Hi Ajay. How are you?
Hi. I'm doing great. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm also doing great. So
Cool.
first of all, let me introduce you to our audience.
Sure.
Um, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. And today my guest is Ajay. So he is well-known Power BI and Fabric expert for our community, and he is also one of the Microsoft MVP in data platform, as well as he is MCT, an international speaker and solution architect, and mainly he is
A
also a
lot.
YouTuber. There are a lot of things Ajay
Thank
is
you
doing
so
up
much.
here. Yeah,
Here we
and
come.
going today he's going to talk about an interesting topic, which is Microsoft Fabric and its components and importance and architecture and cost. Those are all some important topics which actually need if you're migrating or going towards Fabric journey. So Ajay, stage is yours, and now
Sure.
you can proceed with your introduction.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Adnan, for inviting me on your channel. I'm a big fan of your channel, and I have seen the way you are contributing to the society. It's great. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
I cannot see you guys, so if you are there, then hi, hello to you, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon. If you are in Europe, then of course it's afternoon, but in India, I know that it's evening time.
Yeah.
Today we are going to discuss about Microsoft Fabric, and there's a lot of topic inside it, and I believe you are going to love to hear all about Microsoft Fabric if you are as much as enthusiastic about the data analytics as I am. So, without wasting any more time, we are going to start now, and I'm going to introduce you what is Microsoft Fabric, what is our agenda, and who am I as well. Although already Adnan spoke a lot about me. So
I
once
think
again,
still
Adnan, thank you so much.
still you have a lot to say about yourself.
Yeah, sure. But please do let me know if there's any comment, question, etc. I'm gonna give all the answers. I cannot see the comment screen. In fact, my camera is in front of me, but screen for you, Adnan, is down there. So
Yeah.
apologies for that. All
Yeah.
right. So we are gonna go there. First of all, we are gonna talk about what is Microsoft Fabric actually. Microsoft was working for the past couple of years for one end-to-end data analytics platform, and they gave it a code name Trident. Most of you even are not aware about this one. And then, for a surprise, that suddenly becomes Microsoft Fabric. So, what is Microsoft Fabric? Well, if you are already working in this data and analytics field, that you already know about Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Power BI, Databricks, notebooks, etc. But what if I'm going to combine everything into one box? That becomes your Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric has been introduced in public preview in May 2023 and then becomes generally available in October 2023. I'm working with Microsoft Fabric, not even now, but before its launch as well. As I mentioned, the development of this project was under progress before 2023, and there was a lots of features that has to be included into this one. So, what are all those features? What are the different components? We are going to definitely talk about that. But in short, if you want one software as a service platform where you don't need a platform architect or something, and then you want to perform your end to end data analytics, that is Microsoft Fabric. Now, we are going to discuss about this one. As I mentioned, three different things: what are its benefit, architecture, component, and cost. But before going further, a little bit about me. As you know, my name is Ajay Kumar. I have more than 13 years of work experience in data and analytics field. I grew up in India. Basically, I'm from north part of India, Delhi, and then I moved to Singapore in 2018, early 2018, let's say like that. And since then, I'm outside India. Currently, I'm living and working over here in the Netherlands for more than 2.5 years, but I also spent around 4 years in the Singapore. I have done a lots of certifications. I also did my engineering in electronics and communication, followed by my two masters. One is in project management, and another is in business analytics. Rest, guys, if you would really like to know me or you want to know more about me, please do connect with me on LinkedIn as well. If you are already following Tech 18, then I also request you to go and follow and subscribe to our channel as well, where you are going to find a lots of content for your certification exams, for your day-to-day life challenges, etc. So Adnan can provide you my link, which is BI Consulting Pro, or you can also search on Google. I hope Google can give our right channel link over there, and you can find it out over there. But
Yes.
not only that, guys, if you need any guidance or anything regarding your career, how you want to make your career journey in data and analytics field, you can directly email me as well at connect@biconsultingpro.com. So I'm always available for you. But if I'm gonna reply you late, please don't see that I'm ignoring you. But it would take some time because I'm already getting a lot of new work as well as a lot of queries from the other people as well. Now, let's come to the agenda for this session. So this session has been divided into three main parts. First is gonna be what is SSAS Foundation, that is Software as a Service. I call it, but this SSAS is different than that. Microsoft Fabric is a software as a service platform, if you don't know about that. Then we are going to also talk about how you can start a Fabric trial. Suppose you have a Microsoft Fabric license, or even you don't have it. You have just a Power BI license. Then how you can start with Microsoft Fabric. And at last, we are going to talk about cost of Microsoft Fabric. That means Fabric licenses as well as the Copilot. So there's a lot more interesting factors over here about Microsoft Fabric, and a lot of more topics that we are going to discuss into this session. If I'm going to go for if I'm speeding up things, please do let me know, because there's a lot to cover in this session, and I also don't want you to get bored. Please be productive. You have to share your questions with us. Adnan probably gonna let me know, and then we will get to know. And hi Selva, I can see your comments, so a big hi to you. Now we are gonna go further. Let's start first of all, what is SaaS Foundation? In Microsoft Fabric, basically there are three main components. If you are already working on Microsoft Azure, you are aware about the data factory, and also you are aware about the Snips. So Snips has a lot of component that it put it together. In Snips, you can initialize your SQL pools. You can even have the data factory over there, and much more that you can do. You can build your entire data warehouse over there. Data Factory is a component of Microsoft Azure, which is going to help you to do the ETL operation, whether you just want to copy the data from your source to the destination, or you want to apply certain transformations over there. And Power BI, we all know about that. It's one of the market leader in data visualization and self-service analytics, and it's been for the last 6-7 years as the market leader. Microsoft Power BI was also introduced in October 2015, but before that, it was just as a plugin in Microsoft Excel. And I'm also working with Microsoft Power BI since that time. So, SSAS Foundation basically based on three main components. Two are coming from the Azure, and one is Power BI, which you already are aware about. Now, let's talk about this SSAS Foundation. So, underneath, everything is based on OneLake. And OneLake or ADLS, Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, both are same. So we are gonna call it OneLake in Microsoft Fabric platform. So this is just your data lake. So data lake, OneLake, ideally the same, but yes, the functionalities has been improved. There are lots of algorithms that are working on the top of that, so that we can get very smooth and optimized experience. Now, Microsoft Power BI has a lot of components. It's just not, one data visualization tool or something, or it's also not just a data engineering tool. It is completely end-to-end data analytics. And what does that mean when I talk about end-to-end data analytics? End-to-end data analytics means from getting the data from the source till the end users are receiving it. There may be a kind of data engineer who's working there. There may be just a data visualization expert over there, or data analyst, or maybe some AI or machine learning engineer over there. So how they can get it over there? Adnan, your video is pausing. I'm not sure you can hear me, guys. Guys, can you just message in the comment section if you're able to hear me out? Hey Adnan, your screen paused. I thought
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
it was kind of a bit internet issue, so now it's back again.
All right.
Sorry about
So,
that.
guys, as I was mentioning, Microsoft Fabric is a complete platform. Thanks, Vikram, for confirming. It's a complete platform where you are going to get the different experiences, and each experience is basically a technology. Whether you are a data engineer, BI engineer, data analyst, or you are a data scientist or AI engineer, or just a Power BI developer, everyone can work over there. Just suppose you are working in an international organization where you have to perform data and analytics. You want just one single platform where with minimum number of people or with minimum number of team, you can just work on that each and every part of that. Then Microsoft Fabric is the solution for you. Now, as I mentioned, Microsoft Fabric has the different components, and those components are like that. You have Power BI for data visualization or self-service analytics. You have Data Factory for doing your ETL work, even running your notebooks, or you can also run your data flows, Gen 2, etc. Then under Synapse, you have another different experiences. For example, data engineering, where you can perform any data engineering related task that can be just loading the data into a data warehouse, that can be building your CI/CD, etc. Data science is about training your models, how you are going to create new models, how you are going to train them, how you are going to deploy them, how you are going to perform machine learning, etc., or even AI. Then you may need to create a data warehouse. You can create your full-fledged data warehouse over there. You can even create your own lake house inside that Synapse engineering. Then you have real-time analytics. It also may possible that your organization wants to analyze the real-time data. For example, I'm running a store where I want to track down all the different trucks which are carrying my logistics. So how I can do that? How I can get the data from all the IoT sensors and ingest that into my data warehouse or data lake. And on the top of that, I want to perform analytics. So that is also possible over here. These are not limited to that, guys. Please be aware about there is also data activator, which is a new addition over there, and there can be more addition in the future. It's just simply one end solution for your all the data analytics needs. And it's software as a service. That means you don't need to go underneath the code to deploying those services. For example, if I talk about that, you have to go to Microsoft Azure where you have to initiate all the services under your subscription, and then you have to initialize them and then create it. Just imagine in Microsoft Azure, if you are going to go there, you are going to implement Databricks and you want to initialize one notebook, it's going to take a lot of time. However, in couple of seconds, you can just do the same operation in Microsoft Fabric. That's how fast and efficient it is. Before we jump into each and every topic about the data engineering and other experiences, any of you, if you have any questions, you can ask now.
Right. So far, there is no questions, Ajay. So if you want to continue, yeah, you can proceed
Yeah,
further.
sure. I just don't want to overwhelm everyone with all the information, so I just took my pause.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
that's a good one, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, if we talk about data engineering, as I mentioned, data engineering basically is an experience for your all the data engineering related work that can be ingesting of the data, that can be analyzing of certain part of the data, that can be just copy of the data, etc. So in Microsoft Fabric, you have your lake house where you can ingest any kind of data. It can be structured, semi-structured, or it can be just raw data. Like there's no format of that data. And on the top of that, you can use the notebooks, Spark job definitions, data pipelines, or even in certain cases you have written already your code and you want to export or import your notebook, you can do over there. So that is the data engineering experience. So if you are a data engineer, yes, there is already a seat booked inside your organization. If they are using the Microsoft Fabric platform, you can perform your all the work over there. Next to that, there is a data factory work. So data factory ideally part of the data engineering itself, but it's going to give you a lot of more flexibility as compared to you are going to use any third party tool. And the main reason of using data factory is that it's seamless integration over here. So Azure Data Factory basically going to combine the simplicity of your Power Query with the scale and power of Azure Data Factory. It's not simply that Azure Factory that you are gonna, finding out in the Microsoft Azure services. Yes, 95% same, but it's more efficient
Yeah.
over here due to the seamless integration and a lot of more opportunities. Here, you can work with the pipelines and also you can work with the data flow chain too. If you are not aware about that, please do let us know. Probably we can have another session to talk more about the data flow gen 2, etc. Or there's a lot of documentation as well by Microsoft. So I really request you to go and check that out. It is going to have more than 200 native connectors as well. So probably you can connect with almost any kind of data sources and ingest data with the help of that, or you can simply copy into your lakehouse. Next to that is the data science. So as I mentioned, data science is just not about one single piece. It's all about your experience, which is going to enable you to build, deploy, and operationalize your ML or machine learning models seamlessly within Microsoft Fabric. Whenever we talk about data science, first of all, you have to find the problem or what is the idea behind that. Then you have to discover your data, you have to process it, then perform certain experimentations, which we call the training of your data model. Then you also enrich it with certain more information and operationalize, and finally you get the insights out of it. You have seen nowadays you are using a lot of applications, for example banking applications. In the banking applications, you can now just click on the statement and you can find another tab which is saying the future expenses. So what's happening? This is the same which is data science is doing underneath. So it's a machine learning model which is reading your month to month expenses. It's finding the patterns inside that, and based on that, it's predicting what can happen in the future or what are possible expenses that you may encounter in the future. So if you are a data scientist, you want to work, then definitely another seat is booked for you as well. Now we'll move further, and there's a data warehouse. So if your organization is small enough, then probably data warehouse, data engineering, and other stuff is gonna done by one person only, and which would be your mainly data engineer. But
Yeah.
in the bigger organizations, it doesn't happen like that. Everyone has their own specialized skills. And if you have to build a data warehouse, like for example, which we have in our organization, which has petabytes of data, you are
Hmm.
gonna need a specialized people for everyone. We have a capabilities. Capabilities means one, let's say, capability lead for individual capabilities for integration, which is gonna part when you're gonna get the data from your external sources. Then we have a data modeler as well, who's gonna build basically your data warehouse or data modeling stuff. Then we have a front end one who's going to work on the data visualization part only for any tool that is a Power BI or any other tool. Then we have data engineering capability lead. So depends on what kind of organization you are working and what's the scale of that organization. Is it a small scale, medium scale, or it's a large scale organization? Then you have this chance to be either specific to one particular area or you are gonna work on multiple technologies at the same time. But if you are a data warehouse engineer, then this position is for you over here. In Microsoft Fabric, data warehouse experience basically provides you a SQL-based environment where you can run your SQL queries, and not only simple SQL queries, you can also use their interface, which is a user interface, very easy to use, where you can just drag and drop and you can still perform your queries. So you don't need to be hardcore SQL developer, but if you know SQL language, then you are gonna love it. It's also going to provide you the endpoints, so you can basically connect your third-party tools, for example, SQL Server, Management Studio, etc., and then try to query and use those interfaces as well. Additionally, it natively stores your data in the open Delta Lake format. For people who doesn't know what is Delta Lake format, just
Yeah.
consider it's a way where you can perform all the ACID properties or ACID properties kind of functionalities on the top of any of your semi-structured data or the data which is in the data lake over there. This is gonna enhance the performance as well as it's gonna give you the same experience like a relational database. So you can write your SQL code and you can inherit all the acid properties over there. Now, coming to the part real-time analytics, as well as I was mentioning previously, whenever you are working in an organization where you are getting a lot of data from IoT devices. IoT devices are Internet of Things, which are gonna give you the real-time data that can be from any of your vehicles that are generating, that can be of any of sensors that are generating that kind of data. And in certain cases, you want to analyze that real-time data. For example, whenever you are going anywhere and you are checking your Google Map or maybe Map My India, something like that, over there you are gonna get the real-time traffic updates. That is real-time analytics, but that is happening using another software. But inside your organizations, you can ingest that real-time data analytics into Microsoft Fabric platform, and then you can perform your all the analytics on the top of that. So this is the real-time analytics experience in Microsoft Fabric, where you can use the semi-structured format, for example, JSON or text, or also it can be very helpful when you have a high volume of data and the schema is shifting over there. So all those kinds of functionalities you are going to get over here. Now, Power BI. So we all know about Power BI. I'm not going to go
Yeah,
too much into this one, but
exactly.
consider a market leading tool which is going to give you immense amount of functionalities to perform self-service analytics. Consider this as a tool which is going to empower everyone, even the person who doesn't have a knowledge of coding or anything, but still can analyze their data. Still, they can see what's going on inside their data, how the data is varying day to day or year to year, etc. So that is the power of Microsoft Power BI. With the help of Microsoft Power BI, even the executives of that or the top management, they can analyze their data themselves very intuitively. Even a single click, there's lots of AI functionalities, etc., and it's growing exponentially. So this is Microsoft Power BI, and in the future, it won't be a standalone tool, but it would be just a part or one of the experience in Microsoft Fabric. Now, let's talk about Microsoft Fabric trial, how you can start it. But before we move into this part, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
I just want to ask one question. Generally, people ask me about whenever I talk about Fabric.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned during this slides, if we are a small company, then it will be kind of one person who are going to manage the data engineering, data factory, and data warehouse and Power BI as well, right? So, considering that point, being a person, do I need to learn all these skills? I need to be expert on that, or it can be in one particular area. I need to work on that. So, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, very good question. Well, nowadays organizations prefer all-rounder, or one person who can do all the jobs, and
Yeah,
that's where all the competitions comes.
yeah,
Consider a person like me. I'll give you my example. I was the person who never would like to work on any kind of languages, and I accept it openly. I'm not that kind of core coder who likes to do the coding jobs for Java or something, and I hate coding. That's why even in my engineering, I got the computer science, but I opted not for computer science. I went for the electronics and communication. But when we start working into the IT industry, one day or another day, we have to learn certain languages. Of course, I love data, so I learned like SQL, PowerShell, Python, and there's much more like HTML, etc. And we have to learn
yeah,
it. However, coming to your point, that can a one person do this job? In theoretically, yes, one person can do, because nowadays we have all those kinds of skills. If you even you are working as a Power BI, you still do data modeling, right? You still get the data from the different sources. You still transform the
yeah,
data using Power Query. And sometimes you also would like to use the Python. So some of the people feel very, good in that or comfortable in order to write a Power script and then using a Python script and then using in the Microsoft Power BI. However, I'll personally say it's not an ideal scenario. So any organization, whether it's a smaller scale or a larger scale organization, I recommend always have at least two-person one for data analyst work, another person for the data engineering work. So data engineer person can work on the data engineering space or snips particularly.
Mhm.
For Power BI,
Yeah.
the data analyst is gonna work. But if you're gonna ask me that, hey AJ, no, we have only one company who can work on it, then I'll say no, please don't do that. Otherwise, you're gonna be in trouble. Honestly, one person cannot do all the jobs. And that's how we have the different roles of a BI engineer, data analyst, data science
Yeah.
work, etc. And data science work, data engineer, data analyst, maybe if they have studied a
Skill.
lot,
Yeah.
they can do that, but it's not so easy. Trust me in that one.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree with what you explained, and thank you for doing explaining that in detail.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So first, I'm gonna take you guys theoretically that how you can enable Microsoft Fabric trial, and then I'm gonna show you as well in a little bit demo on my screen that what you actually need to do over there. Now, before going there, there is a prerequisite as well. And the prerequisite says in order to enable Microsoft Fabric trial, first of all, you should have a Microsoft Power BI license. You need to have a Microsoft Power BI Pro license, even you are gonna just use Microsoft Power BI as an experience in Microsoft Fabric. So you can create your Microsoft Power BI account using your school or work email address. If you are studying in an university, generally outside India, every university provides them one their email address that they can use it to create their own account, and then can start using the free trial period, which is 60 days. And in that, you can enable the Microsoft Fabric or PPU as well. Otherwise, you can use simply your official email address. They are not going to keep any of your data or anything. Official email address, 99% you can use it for outside work as well, like related to getting free trial of certain software licenses, etc. So I'll recommend you use that one, and then you can start with it. So here are some of the features that you're going to get it. Basically, what happens when you initiate Microsoft Fabric trial period, then you get one node over there, and the node means one capacity node, which is a trial capacity. That trial capacity is going to help you to utilize all the different feature or experiences in Microsoft Fabric. So you get full access of all of the Microsoft Fabric experiences and features. You get a storage of up to 1 TB, up to 5 Fabric trial capacities per tenant is allowed, but it is not for individual. It is for the admin who has already global admin rights in Microsoft Power BI, etc. And then you are also going to get the ability of a user to create Fabric items. You can collaborate with the others one who also have this kind of licenses, etc. Otherwise, you cannot. Now, how to enable it? Theoretically, if you will go there, as I explained you have to go to app.fabric.microsoft.com, but I'll recommend you just go to powerbi.com, and from there you can do that. And then you have to get the license, and after that you can initiate the trial. So let me show you how to go over there. For example, I'm over here in my own tenant, which is BI Consulting Pro. You can see that I have 33 days left over there. So I have already initiated my Fabric trial. What's going to happen as soon as you come over here and you already have your pro license over there, or even the trial period of Power BI, then you would get this option that okay, you can start the trial. You would get it over here, right? I'm getting it cancel trial because I have already enabled it. And then you would get certain links that you can buy it. So let's suppose it's asking me to enable it. I have to enable it first from here. Then I have to go to the settings tab. Here I have to go to the admin part. Here you have to search certain things, which is Fabric. So on the very first tab, you would find this Microsoft Fabric, and here users can create it. Always you're going to get these two settings whenever any Fabric item or any other settings come over here. If you are an admin inside your organization for Microsoft Power BI, then you are already aware about these settings. But some of you guys maybe don't have that kind of experience. So for them, this is how it looks like. So you have to first enable it, and you can enable it for the entire organization or just for certain people over there. Please do that. Also, you can exclude certain people from the entire organization. Then you have to also
Can you just,
enable the second one.
sorry, Ajay, can you just zoom your browser a little bit?
Yeah, let me
Let
try
me
that,
know.
guys.
150. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is fine.
All
Thank you.
right. Sure. So over here, you have to search in this smaller box, not on the top box, Fabric. then you're going to get this first option, users can create fabric items, please enable it. Then you have to also, users can create fabric environments to save, this is in preview, you can still enable it. And there's one more setting, let me check if I can get that one. Guys, please do remember that these settings get changed all the time because Microsoft is updating all the information as per user feedback and the new features that are coming on. But generally, these are the two settings that you need to enable it after starting your Fabric trial. But if you want to enable the Copilot as well, then you have to enable from here as well certain settings that you can see. So just do that, and then your Fabric is going to be ready, and you can start working with this one. Now, in order to go to another experiences, you have to come on your left-hand side bottom screen, as you can see over here, and here you would get all the experiences. Like I mentioned, in Snips, we have the same experience that there were only two experiences when I showed to you on my screen. But now you can see the data activator is there and also industry solutions are there. So more and more experiences are coming over here. That totally depends on what Microsoft has planned on their roadmap. However, everything is gonna be super useful in terms of functionalities and very easy as well for you. So please do enable the Microsoft Fabric trial. If you haven't tried, then I'll definitely say please do try it, and you are gonna love it. About the cost and other things we are going to talk about later, but so far you would get all the functionalities over here. So nothing comes like a free lunch, guys. Every time there is certain either limitations, and also there are softwares are particularly based on the functionalities. So maybe in your organization you have different requirements, and in my organization I have something different. I'll talk about that as well, but let's move forward.
So we get a 60 days trial period, right?
Yes, you guys get the 60 days. In that, you can try all the functionalities over there. But on the trial capacity nodes, you cannot enable the Microsoft Copilot. So
Yeah.
Copilot for Power BI is not enabled. Copilot for Power BI or Fabric is gonna not enabled over there. Now I'm
Yeah.
going to talk about the licenses. This is the question that I also get it, usually from all the people. Hey, what are the Fabric licenses, etc. Before jumping into this, I would also like to highlight that from the June onwards, June 2024 onwards, there won't be any PSQs. They're only going to be FSQs. So FSQs is the way that they are going to define all the different capacities for Microsoft Fabric. And since Power BI is just one of the experience in Microsoft Fabric, so that doesn't make any sense. However, when I was talking to Microsoft and some of the clients were really worried about that, hey, what is going to happen to me? Suddenly my license cost is going to up. I don't want to use the FSQs. I want to do the PSQs. So
Yeah.
officially, Microsoft told us that, okay, if your organization has an enterprise agreement with Microsoft, for example, till 2027 or beyond that, then till
Mm.
then you can use simply your PSQs. But
Okay.
maybe after that, you have to go to the FSQs only. Then there is no other way. Now, there was another question from the many of the clients. They were afraid about the cost of the fabric because it seems a lot as compared to Power BI premium capacities.
Yeah.
Everyone was afraid about that, and people were saying, "Hey, why should I pay so much?" Blah blah blah. But I'll tell you,
Yeah.
there are two reasons. First of all, Microsoft Fabric is not just Power BI. You can
Yeah.
create your entire organization data analytics platform for that. So of course, it has to be expensive as compared to Power BI, where you can just work on one experience. Here, you're gonna get more than 6, 7 experiences, or maybe 8 experiences, where you
Yeah.
can do all the machine learning everything. If you are going to use Power BI, then for each experience you have to get the different services, maybe from Databricks, maybe from Microsoft Azure, etc. And that cost is a lot. Now,
Yeah.
point number two was, for the last 7 years, Microsoft hasn't increased even a single penny on the Power BI capacities or etc. And they have included a lots of features, and I completely agree with them. It's a fair thing, and specifically given how everything is getting super expensive after pandemic, COVID.
Yeah.
Even you see your house rent is, if you're living in Bangalore or any other city in India as well, they are like sometimes like up to 50% higher as compared to before COVID. So
Exactly.
that does make sense. And given that the features they have added in Microsoft Power BI is a lot, and they have optimized it a lot. So I agree with them. Maybe for your organization you agree or not, please have a word with them, and you can talk to Microsoft and get some discount as well.
Exactly. I just want to add here one more point, Ajay. It's
Yeah,
like
sure.
if you are comparing the pricing of P1 and F series, like F64, for a monthly basis, you may see it is a higher price. But when you compare with yearly reserve instance, it's actually
Yeah,
the same.
yeah,
So if you are an organization, then you can plan for a yearly reservation. Then you will get the same cost of premium P1 with F64, but additional benefit of all the other product which is part of the Microsoft Fabric. So we can, that's the
indeed.
benefit actually. It's not a downside, it's a kind of upside itself.
Yeah, and that's what where we are going now. So I'm gonna show you.
Okay.
So if you are going to talk about the capacity-based license, as I mentioned, even you are going for Microsoft Fabric, still Power BI is one of the experience over there, so you have to get the license over there. And still the license it works like, okay, you have a free trial period, you have a Pro and PPU. So these are
Yeah.
ideally Power BI licenses. Okay, you can pause your screen, you can take the snapshot. There's all the information over there. But I'm going to let you know how it works. So without Power BI license, you cannot activate the free trial of your Microsoft Fabric. So this is one of the case. And as it's mentioned over here, capacity license are split into stock keeping units. So each SKUs or stock keeping unit provide a set of Fabric resources for your organization. And your organization can have as many as capacity licenses needed. You can have one, two, three. Like in my organization, we have two P3 and to P2 right now that we are working with Microsoft Power BI. So similarly, you can have more Fabric capacities inside your organization, and for that you have to use Microsoft Azure to enable them. As a service, you can get them, and you can get it from Microsoft Azure. Now, what kind of features you're going to get, you would get in this one. So basically it's more or like the same which you see in the Power BI free, Pro, PPU, or premium, etc. What are the different functionalities you're going to get over there? But the main thing to know, note over here, just note for the Microsoft Web or like Microsoft Fabric applications over there. So whether you can create a Fabric capacity or not with a free license or not, whether you can create the Fabric web application or not, or you can get certain other capacities or not, etc. So those are the most important part over here that you should pay attention. For example, there is one point over here where it says view Power BI item in Pro workspaces or Fabric capacity workspaces. So free users cannot do that. However, Pro and premium users can do that. I'll request you to check all the Microsoft documentations on that for individual one. If I'm going to explain you each and every point over there, I believe this session is going to be 2 hours or 3 hours. So please do some work, and I really appreciate to help you over there, but you have to also help yourself. And do let us know if you have any question. You can comment in this video section on the YouTube, so you would find on Tech 18, and you can
Yeah.
also reach out to Adnan or me wherever you would like to. We would be more than happy to answer your questions over there. Then it comes about the SKUs. So as I mentioned, SKUs are stock keeping units. SKUs that are smaller than F64 requires a pro or premium per user license or a Power BI individual trial to consume the Power BI content. However, more than or equivalent to F64, you can go with this one. I believe I have one more slide where I'm comparing Power BI PSQs versus Fabric FSQs. But in general, you can note that over there, that PSQs, like for example P1, where you get the 8-week course, is equivalent to F64. And beyond that are just the lesser one, which are like embedded ones that you usually get it. I'm not sure you are using Power BI embedded or not, but this is the kind of license which is going to help you to just embedded your Power BI reports into your website. And for that, you need a Power BI embedded license. And then in Microsoft Power BI, you have till P5 only, but if you will go for Fabric, you have even more than that because we know that there's going to be a lot of load over there. The most important part or the critical part that you should think about is that these capacities, which you can see the Fabric capacities or FSQs, are going to handle your all the workload, all the different experiences that you are going to create in Microsoft Fabric. But in Power BI, you just create Power BI experience only. There's no other
Yes.
experience at all. So when you compare them, you cannot ideally compare them the same way. For example, I'm creating a lake house or data warehouse, then also I'm creating, Power BI reports over there out of that lake house, etc. Of course, there's going to be a lot of consumption. But in Power BI, you have only a semantic model, report, dashboard, etc. But you don't have those kinds of other experiences over there. So if you will ask me if you are using in Power BI just P1, then I'll go that take the P3 or at least P2 for Microsoft Fabric. That's how it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Now the most important part, Microsoft Fabric cost.
Yeah.
It's all about money. See, I'm very upfront for this one. Every business is all about money. It's the way that it has to run. Maybe it's not an NGO, but you have to pay attention to all the details of the cost because you have to optimize it. If you cannot, optimize the cost, you cannot reduce it to your organization, then it's going to cost everyone everything. And then probably your bonus is going to be less, or also you are not going to get a lot of hike. So try to improve the cost of your organization. I can tell you how you can do that. So Microsoft Fabric comes with a two-part. Either you can go pay as you go, like you are using and you're paying by month or by hour, something like that, or you are going to have reservation. There's always a benefit of having reservations. So I'll suggest you go with 1 year at least reservation, and then you're going to get a lot of discount over there. Microsoft has simplified these purchasing options, which you can get it from Microsoft Azure. Also, you are going to have the ability to use the same set of capacity units wherever you have the need without pre-allocating capacity. That means you don't need to allocate them. You would certainly get it from Microsoft Azure. It's enabled, then you can start creating your workspace, etc. on the top of that. Here also you should remember that capacity units are measures in seconds. For example, you would see the cost by hour. So in 1 hour, we have 3600 seconds, 3600 seconds. I believe you know the simple math. 1 minute 60 seconds and 60 multiplied by 60 is 3600 seconds. So whenever you get a capacity, for example, you are going to get, let's say, F64 capacity, right? So in F64, you get 64 hours, 64 CUs per hour. That's how it works. So 64, you can multiply by 3600, that much equivalent seconds you are going to get it. And I'm also going to let you know how you can, track these seconds, that how much you are going to use it, etc. And this is very interesting. Trust me. If you are an admin or something, you have to take care of all those. You cannot, just run any kind of load or something, and you have to optimize it. I do on my day-to-day basis, and it's a lot interesting than it even sounds over here. So this is going to help you to track all the cu seconds that you are consuming. It You can also consider how much liter of gas or petrol you are using when you are driving your car, and it's really important you pay attention to the mileage. If it's not going to give you a good mileage, it doesn't make any sense. Now, here you can see that pay as you go cost. As I mentioned, it's per hour cost. If I'm going to talk about this F2, that means you are only going to get 2 per hour. And 2 per hour means 2 CUs per hour. You can multiply by 3600 and you are going to get 7200 CUs. So that's what you are going to get it over here. Now, similar to that, if you are going to increase your SQs, you are going to get more and more and more. Now, this is pay as you go. And I believe it's the same screen, but it's by month, not by hour. And you can get it by year as well. In the years, you are going to get up to 40% of discount. I think I don't have that reservation one because it's from Microsoft side. But I can tell you this, if you are going to reserve, you can get up to 40% of discount on yearly basis if you are going to go for reservation. So whatever you can see that, in general, I'm saying up to 40%, you may get less, you may get more, I don't know. It totally depends on how you have a contract with Microsoft. And Microsoft, I'm not taking any responsibility for that. It's from your website.
Yeah.
So you have to have a good contract with Microsoft, and it's applicable simply with any other organizations. You are going to have this kind of contract, and based on that you get it. But once again, guys, I'm trying to emphasize over here, if you're going to compare it, okay, F64 is P1 just cost me 4,445, and after discount maybe you get it in 2,500 or something. Pay attention to those two factors that I explained to you earlier. First, you are going to get a lots of experiences over here that you can create. You can do your all end-to-end data analytics, which was not possible in Microsoft Power BI. Second one is that Microsoft haven't increased any cost for the last 6, 7, or maybe 8 years for the product. So you have to pay attention, and you have to come out of that mentality of Microsoft Power BI. Microsoft Power BI is just one experience, and here you are going to get many more experiences over here to perform your end-to-end data analytics. So you have to focus on that. Now, before we go some other parts as well for the course, because that course that we just saw over here, it is only for your capacities or SQs, which we call FSQs. But now there's a cost of storage as well, because you have to create your own, lake house or one lake, what we call it, where you are going to dump your all the data, or let's say your row stage. One lake is really very helpful. And why is that? Because it's based on ADLS Gen 2. It simplified your purchases with automatically provisioning single storage service for all your workloads. No matter what kind of data you have, you can store over there. You can apply all the securities over there. It's going to have your single copy of data across all the analytical engines of Fabric without moving or duplicating the data. And I'm also going to talk about more about this. And recently I have posted one video on that where you can share data with your external tenant as well. For example, me and Adnan are working together, and we are from different tenants. We are two different companies, but still we want to use each other's data. Then we can enable the external data sharing feature, and we can use it without moving the data from one place to another. It's an amazing feature. Then in the one lake, you also get the ability to link your existing third-party storage system natively and make them available in Microsoft Fabric. You can also do the mirroring of your existing databases, for example, your Snowflake or etc. You can mirror it. That means you don't need to load the data over there, but with a minimal cost, you can simply use it over here in Microsoft Fabric. And there are a couple of more options over there. For example, it supports your open data formats that democratize access to multiple analytical engines, reducing additional resources needed to set up. Then if we talk about the persistent security, this means you are going to get all the data and governance tools over there to secure your data at one place.
Right.
So this was about the features of one lake storage, but now we are going to talk about its cost. So its cost is per GB, which is very minimal. I won't say it's a huge cost per month, but again, you are going to get some more discounts if you are going to use it. Please do read some of the points that I have highlighted over here. One of them is one lake cache is built for KQL. KQL is another language that we use for um, analytics storage in Microsoft Azure, and that you can use over here as well in the data warehouse or lakehouse in Microsoft Fabric, and the data activator retained. So please pay attention on this screen. This is very important, but all those documentations are part of Microsoft documentation. You can get that same information from there as well. Then we have the cost for mirroring. As I mentioned, that you don't need to copy the data from your existing databases to one lake. Rather than you can use the mirroring. Generally, you get the free mirroring storage based on your capacities. For example, if you have a capacity of F64, then you are going to get up to 600. You can multiply it like 64 of terabytes or more than that. You're going to get the free mirroring one. If you are going beyond that, then probably you need to pay some cost. Otherwise, you don't need to pay.
So that's a good amount actually, right?
Yeah, it's
64.
huge. If you will ask me, it's in TBs. So generally,
Yeah,
like 90% of the organization doesn't have data in TBs, to be honest,
yeah,
if I can say that. But now since data is gonna be the future and every company is gonna be the data company, then might be in the future
yeah,
it's go beyond
exactly.
that, but still it's good. Then there is a networking cost as well. So whenever you work inside your organization, probably as a data analyst or data engineer, you are not worried about that, but your data architects are. You have to pay the networking cost. How you are gonna initializing all the services, whether it's a private network, firewall, etc. There's so much more. So that cost
Ah,
is also a part of that, and that is gonna come soon. But for now, you can try it for free, so you don't need to pay for now. But in the future, it's gonna be there. In fact, when the Power BI, this Microsoft Fabric platform has been launched in October 2023, that time also there was no storage cost. But later on, they have to introduce because they have to also maintain the infrastructure and everything, and which is minimal, makes sense for me. But do let us know what do you think about it. There should be that cost or not. There should be networking cost or not.
yeah.
Now, this is one of the screen where we are gonna do some kinds of minor calculations on Microsoft Fabric. As I mentioned, CUs are the capacity units, which are measured in seconds. For example, you have two CUs, that is, two CU seconds would be like for this F2, your total CU seconds would be 7200.
Mm-hmm.
Each CU is equivalent to total amount of seconds in an hour, which is the simple calculation over here. And I have done it for F64. So for
Yeah.
F64, you're going to have 64 multiplied by 3600. So it's going to come this one. So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm using F64 capacity, that means I'm gonna get that many of CU seconds that I have, that I can use it every hour. Okay. So if I'm talking about the cost for every hour, not the monthly, not the yearly one. I'm just talking about every hour. And let's say I have a report, demand outlook consistency, or any other report name. Okay, I hope I'm not violating anybody has this kind of report. So it's one. So please guys don't mind that. So I just took this name, and this is consuming this many CUs for 90 users in a day. Now, my 90 users are consuming this many seconds. So that means my F64 cost is generally 11.52 per hour. And it's without discount, guys, without reservation. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
it's on higher side. That means if I'm going to divide by 64, that means every hour this cost is going to be this much. The cost per CU is going to be this much. And when I multiply it, on an average, I'm consuming around 50 bucks for this report only for 90 users. So it doesn't seem too much to be honest, but there are cases when you are going to find it a lot as well. But this is the
Yeah.
way we do the calculation. It's a bit tricky. And if you guys can connect with me later on, or you can search over the Google and you see even other videos that I have created on cost, you would find a couple of more links where you would get the more information about the cost. But don't worry about this one. Again, I will say don't worry about this cost a lot. The reason is it's not just the cost of Power BI, it's the cost for everything that you are using over there.
Yeah.
Even I
Exactly.
was talking to Chris Webb, and we came to know this one, that people are bit scared about the cost of over here, but they are not thinking widely, that Microsoft Fabric is just not one application or one software. It's end-to-end analytics where you are paying that much of cost. So that's how it's going to happen. So I'll try to demonstrate you another example of Power BI Copilot cost. I believe you all know the what is a Copilot and why do we use it. Everyone loves it. So that's another thing. And this is really good one. But this is just my theoretical calculations, guys. Don't worry about it. It is going to be like that. But in general, maybe some people are using a lot, some are not using at all. So totally depends. In case in your organization, if you want to enable Microsoft Copilot, then I'll request you to go with the sample users. For example, maybe for only for 5 users you want to enable it. I'll show you
Yeah.
as well that how you can do only just for 5 users or something. Over here, when you come here, so here you would find Copilot, and here you can enable it just for certain users. So you don't need to enable it for everyone, but first you have to enable this one and then enable it for certain users only. And then you can start, calculating your consumption, etc. And how you can do that? That you can do with the help of capacity utilizing app. I'll show you that one too quickly. So you have to go over here first under the apps. You have to get an app, and that is capacity utilization app. Please download and install it. If you already have capacity, you can connect your capacity with this app, and there you can monitor everything regarding like how many CU seconds are being used, what is your workload, etc. And this is going to be the similar to this case. All right. So cost is calculated in Copilot basically based on input and output tokens. And tokens are a way that Microsoft or any other technology in AI field, they break down your strings as an input or output into the different, numbers, and those are known as tokens. Tokens can be thought of as a piece of words, let's say, and approximately 1,000 token, that means 750 words over there. Yeah, so that's exactly that, and it's approximately, guys. Please don't think that it's accurate. Now, let's say user prompts are input tokens, and 1,000 input tokens is going to take 400 CUs seconds for a fabric capacity. After that, Copilot is going to process all the information in their machine. All right, but basically this is the OpenAI
Yeah.
engine behind the scene, which is going to process everything. And I all believe that you use the Chat GPT a lot, you guys. And nowadays people are even downloading all the apps on their mobile phone to send their messages to girlfriends or maybe someone else's wife. So don't mind that. So guys, we all use in our day-to-day life nowadays AI, whether you are finding your meal plan for the day, or you are trying to get some more information. More than using the Google search, we are using nowadays these Chat GPT or another AIs behind the scene. Overall, OpenAI is the engine which is working behind these one. So no matter which app you are using, all are using their API, and then we use this one. Microsoft also use that one, but they have also built another algorithm on the top of that that is going to enhance its performance. Let's say like that, or customized experience for each and every different experiences that Microsoft is using over there. So, Copilot responses are token known as your output tokens, and 1,000 output token is always equivalent to almost 3 times than the input ones. So you can see that it's going to use around 1,200 CU seconds for fabric capacity. So a prompt with 500 input tokens, approximately going to be 375 words, all right, from user, and response with 100 output token. So then the calculation starts over here. 500 is going to take multiply by 400 seconds, then 100 multiply by 1,200 seconds, and then you have to divide it by 1,000. So it's going to consume around 320 CU seconds of yours. So that's how this calculation works. But you don't need to go into too much, calculations, etc. But have to remember that how this calculation is going on. If you are a solution architect, or maybe you are the one who's presenting something to your manager, etc., and you want to tell them. So here's an example. So, for example, user one gonna create a report. He typed, "Hey, create a page that shows the city distributions of a customer." And it's Mr. Adnan. He creates a lot of reports, and he uses 10 words out of that. There's a question, Selva. I'm just going to answer after this. So then it's equivalent to 10 words. 10 words means 3750 input tokens, equivalent to 1503 seconds. Now, Copilot has to process it. It's going to generate one report for you, and it's going to take the output token 839, which is equivalent to 1006 seconds. That means in total you have 2500 CU seconds. So that's how it's going to cost you. And 2500 CU seconds are coming from your that capacity that you have F64, and that you have to multiply by 64 multiplied by 3600. So even creating a simple report, you are going to cost that much.
Yeah. So I do not need to pay any additional cost for using
No,
Copilot. It will
no.
just consume from the existing capacity itself.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's how they simplified the costing for this one.
Indeed. So initially, when Microsoft Copilot was about to launch, or for Power BI, there were rumors that it's going to based on the user per user how much we have to pay, maybe $10 or something. But then Microsoft incorporated that into your capacity. Now there's a thing. If it would be per user, to be honest, I can use as much as I want, right? For $10. But now it's in capacity. I have to be always careful if my capacities are gonna overutilize because of just using Copilot. It's a
Yeah.
no. In my
Exactly.
experience, I have done my cost calculation, so I need complete one P1 or F64 capacity
Oh,
for my, let's say, 30 users. They are sending just 4.5 requests per day in
that's a
general.
huge actually. Yeah.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
huge. But in organizations also, as I mentioned, it depends. So whether we
Yeah.
have a lot of people who are using it, so I always
Mm.
advise just to let Copilot used by the people who are either very new to Power BI or the people who are at the executive levels who doesn't have too much technical knowledge. For guys
Correct.
like us, we don't need Copilot. Trust me. And we would
Mm.
always try to get away from it. Otherwise, we are gonna get super irritated from this one. We know what to
Exactly.
do and how to do, right?
Right.
So this is the way that it should go for any organization. I'll say just go with two simple steps. First, you have to, of course, enable the capacities as a fabric capacity. Then you have to initiate just for one set of people, one group or sample number of peoples, and then try to track the cost over there, how much it's costing, how much request they are sending, etc. Then you can scale it up according to you.
Okay.
We have a question.
Yeah, we have two questions.
Yeah,
So we'll put this on the screen.
yeah.
First one is from Balaji. What services in Azure should I know before starting Microsoft Fabric?
Oh, wow. Good question.
Yeah.
Well, if I'll be you, I can directly start with Microsoft Fabric if I'm pretty new. But in case you have some exposure of Microsoft Fabric, then you should know data and analytics services in Microsoft Azure. And why is that? Because data and analytics services covers everything. You don't need to know actually Azure analysis services, but if you know, that's gonna really help you in data modeling. But apart from that, basic is ADLS, Azure Data Lake Storage. Then another part is Synapse Engineering. So Synapse Engineering is just not one; it's a combination of multiple services. You can unify everything over there. But inside even Synapse one, you should have knowledge about the data warehousing. Even you have that from SQL data warehouse from the on-premise, more than sufficient. Data factory is one of the really important ones. So if you just start with the minimum number of, then I'll say Azure Data Lake or Data Lake Storage Services, ADLS, and then Data Factory. Those are two really important. Apart from that, if you can learn other data analysis or data analytics services from Microsoft Azure, that would be really great. There are a couple of, like for example, you have Event Hub to ingest real-time data. You also have Azure Analysis Services. You have dedicated SQL tools, etc., and notebooks, Databricks, etc. But having a knowledge of Databricks is also very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. And hope Balaji that clears your question. The next one is from Selva Kumar. So can we allocate different capacities for different workspaces? Can we buy one capacity only or multiple capacities?
Okay. Very another good question. So, Selva, for this one, yes, both options are available. You can allocate any workspace to any capacity, first of all. And secondly, you can buy any number of capacities. And it happens generally, like in Power BI Premium as well. We can allocate workspaces to a specific capacity and we can have multiple capacities. So, both are good.
Yeah, that's helpful. All right.
Okay, then let's move forward. Oh, wow,
Yeah.
we took around an hour. Wow, it's going a lot.
Yeah. That
So
was a good
let
set.
me go a bit faster, guys. Over here, you
Yeah.
can see that this is a way that we can track all our CU seconds. How many CU seconds are we using? If you are already using Capacity app, that's the same way that you do use. So this is a way that how you can track your cost, etc.
Yeah.
This is the same monitoring app is showing just for one particular item. If you have the observations that how many CU seconds are using, what is the operation name, whether it's a Copilot in Microsoft Fabric or something else, and what is the duration, etc. You can also see which report you have created. So, guys, this is it. Thank you so very much for bearing me for an hour over there. I hope this is really gonna be very useful for you and you like the session. And there would be a lot of doubts, of course, in your mind previously as well, but I hope I have cleared that. And I hope you subscribe to Tech as well as you also, dare to subscribe my channel as well, guys. If you really want to connect with all the latest information and everything, please do connect with me. These are the different handles where you can find me. Also, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm always ready to help you guys.
Yeah. Ajay, if you have just for 1 or 2 minutes, we have one questions here.
Of course.
Uh, yeah. So I'm not sure about this. Is a question from Manoj.
Yeah.
How can we use Power Query in connection of Dataverse to Power BI?
All right. Although, to be honest, I need to clarify more about this in connection to Dataverse.
Yeah.
So, do you want to just query the Dataverse using Power Query, or you want to use the Power Query in the Dataverse? Can you please be specific, Manoj, about this one?
Yeah, exactly. I'm also not clear about that question.
Yeah.
Um, all right.
But
So,
let's say
yeah,
for the time being, if you just want to query the data from Dataverse using Power Query, well, see, there are ways that you can do that. And that's the beauty about Microsoft technologies. Either you are not gonna get, simple approach, you can still do that. Uh, this question is more related to, over there for Power BI, which I can understand. So you can do query Dataverse using Power Query. You can get even the data directly to the Dataverse. We have a native connector in Microsoft Power BI. You can get it, you can transform using Power Query, and you can use it. But if you want to use in Microsoft Fabric as well, in Microsoft Fabric, we have Data Flows Gen 2. There you get
yeah,
entire Power Query experience. And there you can get the data from any of the sources available. And still you can use the data over there as well. And then you can even use that, Data Flows Gen 2 as an activity to your Microsoft, the pipelines over there in the data factory. And then you can even schedule it. So you have all the options over there.
all right. So one last question from my side is like, if we are a kind of a small company and we are okay with what the existing Power BI features gives us, like even the P1, we have a data flows and we have a Power Query and Power BI. Everything is satisfied our
Hmm.
requirement. We have a
Yeah.
on-prem SQL Server as a kind
Yeah.
of database. Do we still need to move on to Fabric?
Yes, very interesting question. Trust me, guys. This is the very fine question that you should ask even to yourself. It totally depends that how and what you want to do in the future. If you will ask me, in the future, cloud is the future. On-premise
Yeah,
is not gonna be, the future. So at least I'll recommend you that you move to the cloud in terms of your database. Otherwise, on-premise you have to pay a lot of more cost as compared to cloud. Second question comes that if let's suppose you are already having everything on cloud, I'm ignoring that on-premise part over here right now for the time being. If you already have your own lake house, if you already have, let's say, your data warehouse that is up and running and everything is working fine, and you are already performing any of data science or any other analytics work out of that, because your infrastructure is already built and
yeah,
you also have Power BI. Now, for me, it doesn't make any sense to go for the Microsoft Fabric, to be honest. I'll always recommend to the people who are just starting their journey over there in the data and analytics field, or some of the companies who doesn't invest too much into their data and analytics platform
yeah,
right now, they can go over there, right?
yeah,
And third option can be for the people, the company who wants to reduce the number of people inside their team, and also they want to, go away from many different technologies using rather than just one single platform, which is going to serve with the minimum number of, people with their minimum skills, and one unified platform where they can track everything. But given the fact, everything, guys, please do remember that Microsoft Fabric is in generally available, but still there are many features are coming, data governance, etc.,
yeah,
security. So it's not still at that level, but it will be at that level. This is the future, which I predict now, and you can
yeah,
ask me after 3 or 5 years later on that what it has become. It's going to give a lots
exactly.
of flexibility to you. So you can think about it. You have to make a proper strategy. And Adnan, to your question, first you have to check the cost part, which is the most important part. If you're going to go there, how much you have to pay, what can be the consequences. Secondly, the team that you have right now. Thirdly, you have to also think about the scaling up your organization, that what you think about future. If you in the future you think a lots of AI, ML, etc. work, or let's say the real-time analytics, then it may be advisable that you would want to go over there.
All right.
I
Thank you
hope
so
I
much.
answered the question.
Yeah. That's pretty helpful information what you have shared.
Of course.
And thank you so much for explaining these things in detail. To be honest, it was a lot of new information, especially on the cost side, because
Yeah.
generally Microsoft doesn't have clarity on the cost factor, even though they are
Indeed.
simplified for Fabric. But the
Yeah.
way how you explained, even for the second and SKUs, it was really
Yeah.
helpful even for the audience. So
Of
thank you
course.
so much for sharing your knowledge to our audience, and hopefully everybody will watch on the YouTube as well. And we get to host you for another session as well. Let's
Indeed.
see in the future.
Uh, One last time, thanks a lot for having me here. And guys, don't forget to both of our channels, all right, if you haven't subscribed it now. But let's
Yeah,
stay tuned and always let's have help to each other as well as to other people who are out there. I always love to help others and I want to carry on this legacy that you are also going to help other people. So don't just think about, helping yourself. Helping
yeah,
others, sharing knowledge with others is the most important part of our life. So I
yeah,
believe you are going to spread the same knowledge to others, and I'm going to hopefully see you in our next session.
yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this live sessions,
Thanks, guys.
and have a
Bye
nice
bye.
weekend. See you.
Bye.